Wednesday, the 6th of March, 2024. Don't like it on shot. Dennis here. Good evening, good people. I hope you're well. To those who have watched the live streams over the past few evenings with myself and Morlock, I've had a few people on interested in the subject, I must say. Some not for and some against. But I think it's a very important conversation, and it really hasn't been had. I think it needs to be conversed between people, back and fro, until people can make up for themselves what they believe to be the main decision. I know some people have deregistered. I know some people haven't. I know some people think it's not worth doing, and Morlock thinks it's the best thing you can do. So we're just going to keep discussing that because there is a little bit of interest in it. And as I said, Independent Talk is the name of this segment, or this content. And there is no, I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm not here to promote any one thing. I am here to try and build a people's movement in our lifetime against the state, the corporate Republic of Ireland government, the two jurisdictions on this land. So, yeah, we're governed down here by that corporation. And this is all public knowledge now. And we can see it's very, very corrupt. It's very, very dark. And it's causing suffering on so many people. So, yeah, throughout the course of the past few years, I've met many different people. And the deregister one was always there. So, yeah, we'll get into it, I suppose. So, what I'll do is, just for a second, I suppose I'll bring Morlock in and let him say what he wants to say for a couple of minutes uninterrupted. And then there's another chap, Paul, who I've never met, I don't think. Just seeing his face there for the first time. Paul's been, I suppose, attracted to the content and the debate we're having. And he wanted to come on and say a few words as well. So, again, we're not here to argue. You know, we're trying to be mature about this and understand that different people have different perspectives, but our nation is on its knees. And yeah, we're just, I suppose, fleshing it out to see, can there be a movement based around people? I don't think so in its current format. I don't think it's enough to just say deregister and then just, that's it. I don't think that's enough. But I do see the difference between the living man or woman and the legal person, the personage, the capital letters. I know all this stuff, and I'm sure you do as well, but some people can get lost in it, and it is an information war. We're trying to get people who are on a similar wavelength, that we believe this state must fall. It's a cancer on the nation being the people, and the people must operate on the tumour. So I'll bring Morlock in now, and we'll shoot from there. Dig with Morlock. How are you, man?
Yeah, I'm good. Traction has been good since our last interaction, I have to say. The interaction.
Well, I'll put it this way. I'll put it this way, Morlock. I've been doing my thing for a good few months now, and I haven't had many interactions from anybody. Nobody really, because I suppose they're all kind of focused on the political building, the building the movements or whatever. And it's been very quiet on my end. But since I've started doing these evening chats, there has been a few people interested, and there are some people, I'll be honest with you, who don't think it's worth doing. But there are people who have done it and think it is a step along the way. So I suppose we're just fleshing it out. So you just speak for a few minutes, man, and just, I suppose, let Morlock speak. Go for it, man.
Yeah, I tell you, first thing I want to do is here pull you up on something that you've been saying here that's not correct.
Go on.
Yeah, you keep saying you can't just say deregister and then sit back and do nothing. I think that's a little insulting, you know. Considering I'm not suggesting that there's any reinvention of a wheel here. I'm saying the systems are already in place. I hear people coming along and they're saying things like you need to create a new electorate, for example. You don't need to create a new electorate.
Yeah, I've heard that myself. Yeah.
The electorate in a de jure system where you would be reverting to would be the record of the people who are born here. That is your electorate. It's already there. The systems are in place. You're just going back to use systems lawfully. So it's not a matter of just sitting back and doing nothing. I tell you what, after deregistration, it's a matter for Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael, the Irish Freedom Party, the Popular People's Front, and all the other parties to come to the people.
Yeah, what I suppose I mean by that, Morlock, is the fact that I don't think it's enough to just. I don't think it will bring about enough change to just deregister and just sit on that. I think there needs to be a movement by the people of the nation, and some people do feel deregister is the way, and some people don't. But as you were talking about the herd,
I'm just going to put you off there again, because you're saying something a couple of times there again, and you're wrong. You keep saying about a nation. There is no nation. This is a state. And there's citizens in the state. The citizens, that's what we have. We don't have a nation. When you collapse the state, now you can reform your nation. So you're kind of putting the cart a little bit before the horse there, you know.
Yeah, the people who would be now big promoters of Bunrock would say that the Nationals are in the 1937 Bunrock. There is Nationals, there is Indigenous, there is Irish Nationals, and the citizen would be the I suppose the citizenship
of the state. A national of what? A national of what? Like, I mean,
of era.
Yeah, but Bunrock is a fraud that's built upon a fraud. I mean, Bunrock was built on a constitution, a legal constitution that was forced upon the people under the threat of a genocide. And also, what's wrong with Bunrock is Devil Era, the unfortunately named Devil Era. Actually,
very unfortunate.
Yeah. No civil servant should have any hand, act, or part in the creation of a constitution. Yeah, so it falls down at the first hurdle.
There should be a people's document, surely. Yeah,
the people should create a contract. Yeah, the people should create the constitution, not a civil servant, and especially not a civil servant with an unfortunate name like that.
Yeah, it's a very unfortunate name, isn't it? Actually, but I
think it's more than that. I'd go so far as to say that it's a Luciferian agenda. And I would say that that's your clue, in actual fact. And people say, well, you know, Luciferian agendas have rules. Well, what are the rules of a Luciferian agenda? First of all, they must give you clues. Well, there's your clue, okay, your Devil Era contract. Now, the Luciferian agenda, they must tell you what their agenda is. Well, turn on the government propaganda mouthpiece. They don't talk about anything else, only their agenda. What's the third rule? You must consent. You do consent. Under contract, you've signed into it.
That's a fact as well. Yeah, that's a fact.
You've inherited, in my opinion, you've inherited. As I say, it's a de facto state legalese contract. It's a slavery by consent contract. You know, as I say, you know, as I speak about Article 6 and the word rulers, you can't ignore the word rulers. You have the right to vote for your rulers. So Leo Varadkar is now your ruler. Micheál Martin. Who's the other guy? I can never remember his name. Cabbage Head.
Eamon Ryan,
that's it, yeah. His name always eludes me. Sure, he's only tagging along like to make up the numbers, isn't he?
Yeah.
You know? So you had Tweedledum or Tweedledee was always your choice. Now you have Tweedledum and Tweedledummer. You know, what's your choice? It's shit or shitter, like, is your choice always, you know?
Yeah, no, it's a very interesting conversation, man, because, you know, like, I'm not here to talk with you and try to speak to you to try and get one up on you and disprove what or try and talk down to what your suggestion is, because I do see in there's a beauty, I think, but I do feel to say deregister and not build the people's movement upon that, or try and build. I see your friend Paul Cotty commented. I wrote it down here just today. He says,
"Good. Paul is a." Well, sure, look, he's a mine of information for people. Like, you know, you need to listen to the man.
Morlock, I've been telling you for years, you have to rescind or revoke or repudiate the contract you have with the state agency. He wrote that on the live the other night. So that's. I think there is something in that. I think there is something. There could be something built on that. But I think just saying deregister and then like just saying
deregister is my buzzword. That's my buzzword. That's to get the attention, and it has your attention, I hope.
Yeah, no, definitely has my attention.
And Paul's too, thankfully. So, and Paul's too. Paul's attention too. It's to get attention. They're the words that I use for to get my attention to the message.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, but it's a powerful word, isn't it? Really, when you understand what register means and what deregister means, it's a
it
very
seems to be
powerful.
the word that they're all afraid of. They won't they don't want to type it. They won't talk about it. They won't mention it. I mean, come here. We haven't exactly been inundated with offers to come and discuss the matter, have we?
No, but you see, more like there isn't much platforms out there where people speak together. Where we have a common understanding, man. Like, I believe you're a good man, and you contact me, so we've got a good, I suppose, wavelength between us. And I truly understand that you're against the state. I truly understand that. So I'm right in there with you on that.
I'm trying to get you off that fence, Dennis. I'm trying to
Mm,
get you off that fence. It must be very uncomfortable sitting up there now.
it is very uncomfortable at the moment, actually, more like, yeah, it's very uncomfortable because I do think we need people in that arena. I was listening to Justin Barrett's interview with Rob DeSalle today, a very interesting interview about the goings
Mhm.
on in the National Party and the coup and all this kind of stuff. But he believes it has to be political. Whatever your message is, it
Well,
has
where
to
is he
be.
then? But where is
Well,
he? Where are all these people that believe these things? Like, as I said, we're going to have to set the beliefs aside and start focusing on the facts instead of
mm,
beliefs. Like, we all have beliefs. Some people
mm,
believe in God and some people don't. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about this thing. We want to talk
yeah,
about this thing that they refuse to engage on.
yeah.
It's
Well,
not good enough.
that's what I was trying to do. As I said to you before, I've been looking for people, and that's why I kind of had the assembly, as I was saying to you, the Irish Nationals and allies who oppose the state. It wasn't a great turnout. And I suppose we can use these videos now as an early seed and see if there is interest. And I know there is interest. I know there's a lot of interest, but there's
It's
people out there.
growing. The interest has always been growing, Dennis.
Mm,
It's just that it's far too slow, but at least it is growing and it's growing in the correct direction.
I just feel, I just
As
feel,
it's
I just feel there needs to be a kind of a movement behind it, or
Yeah, but there
even
won't be a movement if you don't move. If you stay sitting on that fence, like that's what's going to happen. You're just going to have rows of people sitting on a fence. If you know that
mm,
it's the right thing to do, you have to do it. That's how you create a movement. You lead by
yes,
example.
it's very
You like what
interesting.
are you waiting for a savior,
Mm,
or are you going to save yourself?
yeah, boy, when you say save yourself, like my thing would be, how would I say this now? I was only talking about this morning to me, Mrs. The Bunrocht came into effect in 1937. I think it was 1.2 million people voted. So whatever was the population at the time, it's probably about 4 million. I don't know exactly, but so by my reckoning, nearly 75% of the people didn't vote, didn't take part in the process, or were deregistered, or just weren't educated enough, or didn't care enough to vote. So the people who did vote, because we are, I suppose, as it says in the Bunrocht, we use democratic principles. So people have
Unbunrocked, as I said, you're going to have to forget about Unbunrocked. It's a
yeah.
fraud built upon a fraud. You're going
I
to have to
understand.
wake up and
I
accept that
understand what
fact.
you're saying there, and I have. I'm hoping to get Gabriel Martin on for a chat as well, actually, because Gabriel will be of a very similar opinion. And I've tried over the last few years to get people to sit down and have a conversation, people with different opinions. So he would think the 37's a fraud. He wouldn't think too well of Collins and De Valera. He's back to 1919. Uh, so we've got these differing of opinions, but people actually wouldn't sit down and talk. And I actually, reached out to these people and I said, look, you say you love the people and you love the country and you love your culture. Like, well, the least we can do is fucking talk, isn't it? Like,
It's
um,
it's it's a very poor show to say that the people promote politics are so shy about public and live debate. I mean,
well,
this is
that's
what the
what,
people want. The people don't
yeah,
want polished and edited. They want to
mm,
see the roughness or just the organicness of a live conversation. That's what we want
well,
to see. They want to read the body language of the people.
well, as you were saying last night, there aren't many people, many politicians who will come on and speak and talk live without knowing the questions, without knowing where it's going, without, like, me
Mhm.
and you haven't really talked. We had a brief conversation since we last spoke. So we're not setting up the conversation. We're not
Not at all.
saying where we're going to go with it. We know ultimately what the subject is. You say
Yeah.
deregister. I'm sitting on the fence. I'm worried that there's not a movement behind it. I'm worried about taking myself and giving away my vote. I had a fellow on to me today who was talking about the 1916 and the Rising and the Civil War, and he was saying like there's so much underhandedness, and you know we were led to believe that the vote is the thing that they were fighting for, like, you know, but it was actually British intelligence messing the whole plan up all along. So yeah, what is a government? Do we really want to be under these people? Do we really want to give our consent to these people? I don't, and I do see the beauty in that. But I would be afraid that we would be taking because the people that get this far know the state is rotten, and I'd be afraid that we're taking our presence away from the conversation, if you know what I mean, the national debate.
You're afraid of what exactly? You said you're afraid of something?
I'm afraid of the deregistering movement just being people saying deregistering, but not willing to gather and build that movement, you know? To build it, to spread.
I'm blue in the face. I'm blue in the face saying this now at this stage. I think everybody is fed up of hearing me saying it. But, you know, as I say, look, on a keyboard, it's very easy to abuse me on a keyboard because I don't have any typing ability. I've never used a computer in all my life. Like, I'm 50 years young, Dennis. And if you go back and you look at the start date of that Murphy account, that's the first time I've used a computer. So it's very easy for people to abuse me on a keyboard, but it's not so easy when you're in front of me. And when I can analyze your body language, and when you can analyze my body language, and when the conversation can flow, you know.
Of course, yeah. Well, that's what it's all about. I believe it is a conversation that needs to be had because, as I said, I don't have much contact from many people the last few weeks and months, but I've had a bit over the last few days now just about this subject alone, you know. Both for
what did you think about my comment regarding the so-called alternative media and the so-called what do they call themselves, citizen journalists? What about those people? Do you not think that it's shameful that they won't show any interest in the matter? You know, it's obvious that there is an interest in the matter because every time that I've engaged with you on this, the numbers on whatever platform you've been using have, they've increased by hundreds of percent, Dennis, hundreds upon hundreds of percent. So there's nobody can deny that there's not an interest in the subject.
There's definitely an interest in it. There's definitely an interest in it. Of course there is, yeah.
And I'll just ask you the question, what have I said that is not true? Please tell me.
What has Morlock said that is not true?
Anything, come on, anything.
No, I wouldn't say you're a spoofer or a shy talker.
I'd like somebody to tell me what I have said that is not true, and the reason being is very simple. If what I say is true, then whoever is blocking it is blocking the truth from the people. That's unacceptable. When is it okay to block the truth? Is it ever okay to block the truth? For me, the truth is our power.
100%, yeah.
It's all we have.
I just
and you know what, right? I have to run around in the shower to get wet, yeah? I'm just a slip of a lad. But you know, I feel 10 foot high walking around with the truth. You know, you shine the truth on these people and they cower away like vampires. I've met them. I've met these brave patriot warriors that stand on the soapboxes shouting for the people to follow them in circles. They're afraid. They're afraid. That's why they're not here, Dennis.
Yeah, possibly.
It's no joke.
Possibly, yeah. It's just fading the back into
the state of affairs. As I say, listen, even if we had the de jure and lawful system, like, I mean, why would you want to vote for a coward? How is that going to help anybody? These people are cowards.
One of the lads said, Alan came on the night and left a comment and said Morlock is actually he's helping the state by giving out this information to people.
There you go, yeah. Imagine coming and saying that and not having the fucking. Why aren't you here to say it to me face and we'll have it out?
Well, maybe
this is the nonsense. This is the nonsense that I have to put up with.
Yeah, well, there is a lot of, it is hard to keep up with all the nonsense, and the lack of conversations around real issues and just opinions on as you say, on keyboards, just people just constantly just texting each other about opinions and trying to catch each other out, and there's not much
And then,
actual
and then, and
real.
then, and then, yeah, and then running away to hide. I'm here. I'm always here. I'm always available. From 6 o'clock this morning, I contacted you, didn't I? Or
You're an
something
early
like that.
riser, yeah,
I'm
you're
ready
an
to
early
go.
riser.
Well, you told me you were all in on this. You said you were all in, and I said I
Yeah,
am too.
yeah,
So
yeah,
come on, let's go. That's how I am about this subject.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I hear you, I hear you, I hear you. And what we're at, I suppose, is I'm trying to find people, and as I said before, I do truly believe you oppose the state in every fibre of you, and that's what I like about you, and your honesty,
Well,
uh,
I,
and
I,
your simplicity as well. Do you know what I mean? In your
but it
message.
is simple. The law is simple. I wrote it to you in our message. The law is do not hurt, harm, or injure.
Mm,
There is nothing new under the sun. There is nobody with a funny hat to come along and to add anything to those laws.
mm.
That's the laws, and that's it. And it is simple.
Yeah, and a couple of people have left comments as well. Said they enjoyed the conversation between the two of us, and fair play to us for having the conversation and talking about it. And the people are interested in it,
Look, I just find it therapeutic, almost to just get it off my chest because I
Yeah,
can't
well,
do it on a keyboard.
especially with the whole straw man and the whole birth cert thing. I think that's why it resonates with a lot of people and the legal person.
Yeah,
Um,
well, you see, yeah, the birth certificate. That's another subject again.
mm.
Yeah, I'm going to stay on the deregistration subject if you don't mind. It's
Paul's
because
at, Paul,
the state is fueled
I'm
by the
gonna bring in
electorate.
Paul. Paul's at asked me to bring him in. I'm gonna bring him in. Give me 1 second, brother.
Oh, very good.
Go ahead, Paul. We forgot about you.
Oh,
Sorry.
you lads. Right. Murdoch there, just about the birth cert. I was one of the first lads here in Ireland to challenge that birth cert in the courts here. And they just, even though the paperwork is 100% correct, it is 100% lawful. This is lawful paperwork we brought into a legalese court. And even though lawful always supersedes legal, they still went straight out over my head. And the reason they done that is they have 15,000 Gardaí to back them up. And that's where the real law lies, is with whoever has the biggest stick. And we don't have, if we had a common law police force, we would have the biggest stick. We would have about 30 or 40,000 lads there behind us. But because we don't have that, they're just ignoring all the lawful paperwork we put in. And I tried to destroy that contract with the birth cert by informing the coroner here in Galway that I'm alive and that I'm a living man. They just ignore it because they have got the biggest stick. And I agree with you 100% that we need to destroy this legalese state. All this legalese stuff needs to go. So I just said I'd let you know about that, the birth cert there anyway.
I'm not even going to touch on the subject of the birth cert because I just asked you the question, right? You did your confirmation, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So like, I mean, your mother baptized you as a child, yeah?
Yeah.
You didn't have any active part in in your baptism. Your mother
No.
and your father baptized you. Okay. And then you went and you confirmed that, didn't you, when you were 13 years old, at the ecclesiastical age of consent, 12 or 13? You
Yeah.
confirmed that yourself. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
the legal system is the same that runs parallel to that canon law, ecclesiastical law. The legal system is running parallel to that, and the legal age of consent is 18. So that's where that's converted at that point. And just to bring it back to the simple facts of the matter, the state is fueled by the electorate. So that's where we
Yes.
are. That's the first step of our journey. So yeah, it's a
Right.
very interesting subject what you're speaking about, but we're not there yet. We have to first of all put the power to the state. Each voter, you can look on it in the electrical terms, the voltage for the state. Each voter is 1 volt of the electorate, which is the electricity, which fuels the de facto state. Now, protesting doesn't work. So start being resistance, again in the electrical term. Build up enough resistance to trip the switch that's fueling the state, which is the electorate.
Yeah. No,
have enough capacity to trip that switch. That's what you have to do.
Yeah. Now, I agree with
First,
everything
that's
that
step
you're
one.
doing there, but I think you're going about it the wrong way. I don't think we have all the time that will take to get all these people to deregister. As I said to you before, I have been on this deregister thing before, and I was telling everyone to deregister, and I found it very hard to get the message across because a lot of the electorate there are still watching RTE, and that's where they get all their information from, you know. And these people are. You can't explain to them what you're just after saying to me there about voltage and all that crack and the currency and the electorate. You can't explain that to these people because they don't understand it.
They can. I've gone very good at explaining this, to be honest with you. I could explain this to an old lady at a bus stop now very, very easily. Everybody, mankind has never been such a bewildered state as they are now, and they are open to hearing information. And by the way, Paul, I'm sorry now to cut across you, but you're telling me that you think that perhaps that you can go into this system and maybe infiltrate the system and do something from within. Well, I'll just give you another analogy. Like, why don't you join the guards and go in and fix the guards? Because you can't. That's why. Because you'll go in there as a guard. So if you go into the system as a TD, like, it's the same thing. What do you expect to do?
Well, look at it. It's worth a try. You know, this is as I said. We're going at it different ways. We both want the same goal, and that's to destroy the state that's there now and the legalese.
But I've heard what you've said. I've heard what you've said for all of my life. Every time I hear somebody coming along and tell me they're going to do the devil and all, and they go in and find out you can't, and all the time is ticking by. Now, what's the plan? To wait for an election? I don't think that that's a good plan. I think we need an immediate plan. And when I say immediate, I mean immediate for after this referendum, because you, of all people, are not going to be surprised if this thing is rigged. You need an immediate plan. You can't say, right, lads, we'll build up a party and wait for the next election, and maybe that won't be a rigged fix as well. You know, it's just
either it gets rigged or I get in. If I get in, I'll be up in the door there shouting about how corrupt this place is.
Yeah, but you're not going to get in unless you sign the contract that states that you're going to fulfill your fiduciary duties to the state. So you know, it's a catch-22 situation.
No.
Well, you're not getting in then.
I'm not signing any contract with them people.
Well, you're not getting in then.
If I don't get in, so be it. So be it.
Well, yeah, but how much time?
The system is.
Can you give me the date when the election is going to be so we can start counting down?
For what?
For the election, like when the plan, like the great plan to go in and infiltrate them. When is it happening?
They haven't called the date of the election yet.
Exactly. So I'm saying we need a now plan immediately. We should have had it. We should.
How many people do you think you're going to get deregistered in the next year?
Well, if people talk about it, I would be listen. I said in the last interview, you watched it here with myself and Donncha. I am supremely confident that this state would be felled in one go if you had a national debate on this subject. I'd be supremely confident. It's just that the matter has been suppressed and blocked and ignored, and it's all by the people with political aspirations.
No, I have no aspirations. I'll tell you that. That's one thing I don't do.
I didn't say you. I said the people with political aspirations are blocking discussion on this subject. This should have been discussed years ago. I've been telling these people. I've had all those people down in my home. Those people that lead the protests. I've gone up to Dublin and I've met them. I've gone up to Donegal. I've been down to Cork, Tipperary. I've been all around this country. I've met them all. And they tell me to my face that, yeah, you know what? We'll have you on our platform and we'll discuss that. And then they renege. Every single one of them.
I guess I don't have as much patience as you would. Instead of trying to get everyone to deregister, I want to go headlong at these. What I won't say. I want to go in there and start kicking them around the doll. That's what I want to do. But,
well, are you going to sign your contract then, Are you going to sign the contract to go in there?
I'm not signing any contract with them
because that's what I'm telling you. You're not going in if you don't sign the contract.
I think there could be a movement about this, right? And I think we could attract enough people. If enough people spoke this way and said, we're not signing a contract, like, and we'll go back to the Mansion House, and that's our mandate. If enough people were to run in that position and actually say these words, this system is filthy, why would we want part of it? We want to go back to...
If the state hasn't been collapsed, it doesn't need the third leg to operate. I gave you that proof before. 2011, the state ran for almost a year with no executive branch. It doesn't need the executive branch. That's only to create the illusion. And also, the writers of the legislation at the moment are writing protective legislation to say that there's not going to be any more elections.
Yeah, and you are taking part in the grand illusion as well. If you do go into the political domain, you are taking part in the political world. You won't see great change in the political world. You never do. So
there's three governments operating in Ireland now at the minute. You have the one in Dáil Éireann, you've got the IRB, who are claiming to be the original government, and you've got the government up in the north of Ireland. So that's three different governments that are claiming they have power on this island, So, which one are we going to believe? Like,
well, this is
listen. Go to the little blue book, and if you open it up and just read Article 6 again, and just get it into your head, there, it's all there in Article 6. All power derives from God through man. You're created in God's image, so all the power is coming from God through you, and you have the right to designate your rulers. That's your problem.
But that's all legal. Well, that's all.
Sorry. I forgot, because in Article 6 it also explains that the three branches of state are legislative, executive, and judiciary. They are the three branches. So the executive branch is the public face of the de facto state, which is whichever politicians they are. It's only one part of the state, and as I said, the state doesn't require them. The state is able to function just fine without those people.
I just happen to have one of these. I got one of these on my travels. Article 6.1 in the blue book.
Have you got a match as well? Have you?
What?
Have you got a match?
Yeah. All powers of government, legislative, executive, and judicial derive under God from the people, whose right it is to designate the rulers of the state, and in final appeal, to decide all questions of national policy according to the requirements of the common good. Article 6.2.
Common good. Whoa, somebody walked over my grave.
Article 6.2. Article 6.2. These powers of government are exercisable only by or on the authority of the organs of state established by this Constitution.
Isn't it a great little book, isn't it? It's done wonders for us in our little lifetimes, lads, hasn't it? All the wonderful referendums that we've had with that. And by the way, Dennis,
Go on.
If you want to call yourself a republic, you must hold power of referendum.
Yeah, you were saying that.
Look at Fianna Fáil came to the people on their knees and groveling and begging, and they said, lads, if you vote for us, we'll give you a referendum on the ownership of your water. There's that referendum. Why are you giving us a referendum on whether a man can wear a frock and be called Mary? Nobody wants that referendum.
Yeah, it's interesting the things you see. It's interesting the things you see along the way, because I was doing a bit of research a couple of years ago, just on my own, and there was an initiative for the citizens initiated referendum. There was a bit of a push behind it, and then it just faded away. And then there was a group called Direct Democracy, and they were pushing direct democracy, obviously, and it just kind of faded away. I think Ben Gilroy was with them early on. But I got on to the fella who was in charge of them there about two and a half years ago, and I was like on Facebook, and I was like, "What's the story, man? Who are you and where are you? We never see it anywhere. Direct democracy and the stuff you're promoting is quite good, but where are you? What's going on? I haven't seen you around." And the fella, the main actual geezer, got back to me and told me, "Dennis, just forget about all that stuff and get on with your life." That was the leader of direct democracy told me that. Just forget about it all, man. Just get on with your life. There ain't much you can do. Now, that party has rebranded under Ben Gilroy in the last few days as Liberty Ireland. But that's what I was told about 2.5 years ago by the fellow who was in charge at the time.
You see, Liberty Ireland. Ireland is a crown title. Ireland is a registered crown title. So what? Liberty Ireland? Where is he going with the name?
Yeah, it's a very interesting point.
Yeah, it is.
I'm just looking at the comments here, and you can keep chatting there, lads, and I'll just put up anyone that I think is interesting. We might discuss it. Yeah.
We'll play rock, paper, scissors there.
You just keep chatting away, and if I find a good comment, I'll bang it in there, and we'll talk about it.
But let me show you what I've been showing the people here in Tuam. Now, I've been getting great feedback from this. See that there?
I have, yeah.
Yeah. That's the Garda. That's from the Garda website there, right?
Yeah.
From 9 in 2013 to 817 8 years later. The last statistics I seen there from the Central Statistics Office said it was 2,500 at the last quarter of 2023. So I've been going around showing this to old ladies there and around the shopping centre, going into the bus station in Galway and going up to students in Eyre Square and talking to them all about it. And they're all gobsmacked. They can't believe this stuff is going on. But here's something else as well. This is from the UNESCO. I'll read it out here for you. International Technical Guidance on Sexuality Education. And this is an evidence-informed approach. So they've actually been doing this. And here, I printed all this stuff out and I got it laminated. So it mightn't show up on the screen there. So I'll just read it here. Here, number 1, families, right? They start off with this is for 5 to 8 year olds now. Just remember that. They start off with families, number 1, right? Just to get these little kids' brains, they're only 5 or 8 years old and they're very malleable little brains. And then they go into friendship, love, and romantic relationships. And I went into Google and I have it printed out here. I just said to Google, what is a romantic relationship? And this is what it came back with. An intimate relationship is an interpersonal relationship that involves emotional and physical closeness between people and may indicate sexual intimacy. This is for 5 to 8 year olds. Do you know what I mean? And this has been pushed by UNESCO. The Women's Council, the UN Women's Council, UNICEF, the World Health Organization is pushing this as well.
Yeah, but we know all this, Paulie. There's sick entities that are pushing all this stuff.
Yeah, but hang on, guys. Hang on, guys.
This stuff we need to be discussing as well and showing the electorate, or well, whatever is left of the electorate by the time we're finished.
To be honest with you, lad, no. To be honest with you, I'm being really, really polite here, and I'm letting you roll there with all these facts. But they're only legal problems. Everybody keeps showing me these legal problems. I'm going to have to look at Stephen Kerr now tomorrow, jumping up and down outside the migrant centre again, won't I? But just keep people, in a state of sensation with just bad news. But it's all legal. Okay, if you want to look up at the sky, you want to look at the stratospheric aerosol injection, that's legal. You want to look at the water, the fluoridation in the water, that's legal. Yeah, what you're talking about, that's legal.
What do you think?
It's all legal. All your problems are legal.
What do you think of
this? To simplify everything.
If you say this is the reason we don't want this stuff, this is the reason we're asking you to deregister, is because the government that's there now is hiding this from you.
Sorry. It's just, you see, the problem is this is what the government are doing to you. Nah, can't hear you.
I'm not talking about the government. I'm talking about the electorate. I'm talking about the people that we want to get to.
The electorate have signed over. Listen, if you want to talk to the electorate, you have to go and talk to Micheál Martin. He is the attorney of the electorate, and Leo Varadkar. The electorate have no voice. The electorate have signed over power of attorney. There's nothing you can do about this. The electorate have no voice.
Take this comment in, lads. Take this comment in. Paul Cotty says, sign up. Give your sovereignty away to be ruled, subjected by your Crown Inc. provincial government. Oh, what a trick they have played.
It is, unfortunately. I do. You see, lads, you look at, you're all nice guys. Like, I know Paul is a well-intentioned man. I do that. I know full well. I can feel it in my heart. It's just that the system is unworkable. It's a legal system. And how can you expect to go into a system of no morals and fix that? How are you going to put morals in legal? That's an impossibility. This is the undoing of God's law.
I reckon.
Are you God?
80 of us into Dáil Éireann than it would be to get everyone to deregister.
You have to sign the contract first, Paul. That's what I'm saying to you. We can elect you, but you have to sign the contract to the permanent government, or you're not getting in.
Not signing
Well,
any
you're not
contract.
getting in then, and we're going to have to wait for a year or something as well, won't we? How many more people are going to be decapitated in that time and raped? We need an immediate plan.
The same thing can be said for deregistering. How long is it going to take for everyone
I told you, I'm supremely confident that with a national debate, we would fell the whole state in one go. You can't argue that the state should be collapsed. Who would argue that?
That's exactly why I'm trying my way, because I've tried to get people to deregister. I've talked to them about deregistering, and they just ignore me and just continue on with their life.
Yeah, but if we were on RTE talking about this, and you had an audience of all of Ireland listening to the bloody thing, I'm telling you, they wouldn't have a leg to stand on. This state should have been collapsed generations ago. It was our mothers and fathers should have collapsed this state. We shouldn't have had to endure Charlie Haughey and all those people.
That's the key thing there. You just have to mention it. You just have to mention it there is the media coverage.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to do against them. That's how they infiltrated our government with their WEF puppets, was through the media. So just reverse engineer what they've done to us and do it back to them.
You've got a legal system.
You try and get into RTE there and have a conversation with anyone in RTE, they'll just shut you down straight away.
Oh, but hang on. Where's Stephen Kerr? Where is McGurk from Gripped Media? Are these people journalists, or are they only pulling the wool over our eyes?
Well,
they know about this subject, and they're avoiding it like the plague.
Why do you think that we haven't been on RTE or any place like that? It's because they want to shut us down. Why do you think that?
Well, I'm just telling you that there's a lot of journalists that are not doing their job. Yeah. You know, they need to come out. They need to step up to the mark. They need to be neutral and to listen to the conversation.
Yeah, and I've been contacting these same people as well, and none of them want to talk to us because they know that we're speaking from the heart. We just want what's best for their people.
That's what I was saying to Morlock the other night. There is already self-censorship or censorship of people. Morlock can vouch for it. I can vouch for it. That does happen. It's not an accusation.
Yeah, but what the people have to realize is the ones that are leading the people, and they're just leading them around in circles at these protests. Like, they've been doing it for how long now, just leading them around, stand at a stage then and listen to pre-prepared speeches at the end of the mic, and then everybody goes home. Like, I mean, it's not working.
No, definitely not Morlock.
Yeah.
Definitely.
No, I agree with you. Look at Murdoch. As I said to you at the start, I was all on this deregister a couple of years ago, and I tried to get people to deregister, and I said, "Fuck this! You know, it's too hard to get all these people to pull in the one direction." Like, so I said I'd try it another way.
I comprehend. I comprehend is all I can say to you. But you have to sign the contract to get into your office, which you're saying that you're not going to sign the contract. You're not getting into the office anyway. Then there's the whole plan about when is this election? We don't know when that is. How much damage is going to be done between this and then? What's going to be our population by the time this election arrives? And another thing about collapsing the state, once you return to a de jure nation, only the people recorded as born here, and that's why I'm saying you don't need to recreate a new electorate. The electorate's already there. It's the recording of the people that were born here. They're the only people that will have any entitlement to vote here. So it's a massive reason to get this over the line, because your country will be destroyed, and I won't be able to help you if you leave it too late. I won't be able to. What can I do?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying to you, Morlock. That's what I'm saying to you about the just deregistering. I don't think it's enough for me and Paul.
No, you shouldn't say that. I never said just deregister. I never said just deregister.
Go on.
I didn't. I've explained that when you deregister, you return to a previous system that's already set up. It's a lawful system. You're going back to the electorate is here. It's the recording of the people born here. You're not recreating a wheel. You're just, mankind has gone down a legal road. So you're saying, you know what, this legal's not working, obviously. So we're stopping the legal and we're going back to law. You're not recreating anything. There's nothing new ever created under the sun.
Yeah, but the thing about it
is... Can I just come in there, Murdoch, for a second?
Go on.
I was listening to there's links you can get there to the High Court, and you can listen into High Court cases and when they're being called. And out of about 50 cases that was on that day, there was only one case being heard in a common law court. You know, as I said earlier on, the person with the biggest stick, that's the law. And the Gardaí have 15,000 people there, but they're backed up by their legalese, you know.
Well, listen, they're doing nothing wrong. They're doing the job they're contracted to do. They're not on Garda Síochána. They're Garda. They're a private company.
Until we form our common law police force, we're just going to keep getting better with their legalese stick.
No, but I'm saying that they're doing nothing wrong. The state has employed them as a private company.
I know. They're doing everything legal.
They're doing everything legally. And by the way, the state's primary objective is to protect itself, and that's why, in the interest of common good, it will protect itself, and it will revoke all your rights in the process, because it can.
That's what every good parasite does, like.
Yeah, but it can. I mean, they're doing nothing wrong. They're playing by the rules. The people have no rights. The people have, you've got these barristers coming along, and I'm thinking of one in particular that I actually silenced in front of a whole lot of well-known protest leaders, and I was very surprised because I silenced her in front of all her friends, and she has nothing. She had no rebuttal to the statement I made. She was promoting the Blue Book, and I couldn't listen to her anymore. And I said, just stop. Stop. I said, you're talking nonsense. I said, your rights under the terms and conditions of that Blue Book are legal, fundamental rights, ipso facto, revocable. You have no rights technically with that book. And you know what? If a ball of tumbleweed didn't blow across the sitting room floor there and then, it never will. Not a peep out of her. No rebuttal to the statement. That's because it's a fact. That's why. You know, you have to have, if you go back to the lawful system, a de jure system, now all of a sudden you have absolute lawful non-revocable rights. Now all of a sudden you have power to sack rogue agents of state with no pension should they go rogue. You know, you return to a system of
enforce these laws. I've already had this conversation with one lad. He was in Falsk there, and I said, who are you going to get to enforce these laws? You know, we need our own lawful police force if we're going to go the way you were saying, like, you know.
No, a police force is for a state.
Well, do you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about.
Sorry. I wasn't trying to be awkward there. Yeah. No, you just need to move completely away from legal, and you know, I mean, it's not just here on ERA. It's, as I said, it's all the European countries. It's Holland, it's Germany, Spain, France, Italy. It's all the European countries. They all have de facto state contracts. They have
all. Can I just pull you on something there? Can you explain to people what de facto means, please?
Yeah, it means ruling by force. It means forcing policy. That's what it means.
So
it means that they're doing nothing wrong. It's legal. It's legal. De facto is legal.
De facto is legal. So
de jure is lawful. De jure is lawful. I want de jure.
Just to clarify for some people who maybe don't understand what these words mean, because there is some words that I never heard de jure and de facto until a couple of years ago. I didn't even know. I never had this book until a couple of years ago. Then I came across the Bunrock, so it's all new information for people. So I just wanted to say de facto. And what was the other one I mentioned? De jure.
De jure. We need de jure. De jure is lawful, you know. So we need, because de facto is it's a legalese language. That book actually is all written in legalese. Like, I tell you what, Dennis, right? While you're there, flick through all the articles in that book and tell me where any time that you see where a man or a woman is mentioned in it. Will you, in any of the articles?
Yeah.
I'll save you the bother. You won't find it. They're all written for the person. A person is a two-dimensional fictional entity. It's not a man or a woman. That's a legalese contract, and none of us here, by the way, are fluent in legalese. So I don't know why you'd intend to use that book in the first place.
That was doing the rounds on the street a couple of years ago.
I can speak and read the English language, and then a de jure contract will be written in a lawful language that I can read and comprehend. I don't understand legalese.
Yeah, as you said earlier on, there's only two laws: no loss, no harm, no injury. That's it. That's as much as we need. You know.
That's the law. But you know what the problem is, though, Paul. You know, you see, I'm well aware of the fact that Look, I'm a man, so I'm fallible. If you give me power, I will be corrupt. That's what happens when you give a man power. And that's what would happen to you, unfortunately. Statistically speaking, now, we all like to think that we're the special one. We all like to think that we're some sort of a Neo in the Matrix. But I'm speaking, statistically speaking, we're all fallible men. If you give any of us power, we'll abuse it too. That's what happens. So power has to be taken away from that 1% and returned back to safety to the people.
And I know one thing anyway, and I can't be bought. No one can buy me. It doesn't matter how much money you have, you cannot fucking buy me. You cannot buy my integrity. And that's one thing I'm fucking damn sure about.
Yeah.
What about that comment down the bottom there? The civil service runs the administration fully. Politicians are mere punch and judy puppets for the audience to cheer and jeer for and against.
That's why they're called acting politicians, because they're acting. It's all just a show. It's just an illusion to give you guys, the illusion that you have some sort of a say in how the country is run. You don't. You have no say in the matter whatsoever. But you know what? We're going to have to crack on and get something done. And I would say that our best angle would be to get gripped media to come out and discuss the matter. There's enough interest in this subject. There's enough material here.
Yeah.
And by the way, I just also always like to make the point that I'm not trying to push for any sort of a position in any debate at all, Dennis. I've explained to you before.
I think more so than pushing grip media to cover it. I think we need to cover it ourselves because
no. Grip media need to step up or step back. They need to step aside. Just step up or step aside. This is far too serious. There's women being raped and men being raped and people being decapitated. No, this is way too serious for them to think that they can avoid it.
Yeah, well, they're allowed to play the game more. Like, you know what I mean? There's only certain things they're allowed or they're going to say. Like, it's just the way it is.
Well, they're no good then. Well, then they're no good to us. All right.
Yeah. They do a bit of peeling of the layers, but they don't go deep.
They don't do anything. All they do is they just go around pretending to ask difficult questions and all the while avoiding the lawful solution. That is not going to help us in the long run. You can't just keep the people fed with all it is a bunch of drama every day. Like, it's just one scandal. To be honest with you, right? I'm full sure the state runs on scandal.
Scandal after scandal after scandal after
scandal. It runs on scandal. It's like a real life soap, is what it is. Real life EastEnders.
My missus sends me a couple of articles that she thinks may be relevant because she thinks we need to start talking to people, when I'm doing my content.
Yeah.
Not just speaking to activists and people who would be activists, but trying to reach more people with more relevant stuff as well. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So she sends me the odd article. She says, just, in the ideal world, I'd put it up on the screen there, but I'm not that technically advanced. But this is just the last, I suppose, day or so. Breaking news. Fears weapons flown through Irish skies being used in Gaza. Almost 1,200 flights carrying weapons were flown over Irish airspace last year, prompting concerns that some of these weapons are being used by Israel in Gaza. 181 of those flights were approved in October, the same month Israel began its all-out offensive on Gaza. According to the Irish Examiner, there was 1,185 applications for permissions to fly weapons through Irish airspace or land at Irish airports granted by Transport Minister Eamon Ryan last year. Of these, 910 flights were given permission to fly across Irish airspace. Only 8 applicants were refused by the minister, while 38 applicants were cancelled by flight operators. Under existing laws, it is illegal to fly weapons through Irish airspace unless a waiver is granted by the Transport Minister. Sinn Féin's Foreign Affairs spokesman Matt Carthy said that there is a disturbing lack of transparency around these flights. He said there is no accountability to the Dáil on the issue and that almost all applications submitted are granted by Mr. Ryan. People Before Profit TV, Paul Murphy, said the figures certainly suggest that Shannon Airport is being used to transport soldiers carrying weapons to the Middle East. In 2022, the government permitted 1,094 civil flights with weapons on board to fly through Irish airspace, while 989 such flights were allowed in 2021. In 2020, 1,165 permissions were granted. The total figure also includes flights that landed and took off from Irish airports, with the vast majority coming into Shannon Airport. Now, that article was today. Now, I wouldn't even see that. That wouldn't be on my radar. But my missus just got that. That's another scandal, like. And that
That's
is
all it is. It was just another legal problem. I'm
it
just
is
hearing
the electorate is fueling that, yeah. No,
Yeah, you are, yeah. You're fueling the whole system. And the politicians are acting as the electorate. They are the electorate represented.
Yeah, well, I just
So,
wanted to, yeah.
I did explain that's why the politicians are never locked up, because they are not accountable. The electorate are who is converting the fraud.
I see one lad there. He's said that 1/3 of the population of voters are civil service. Do you know? And plus, you have English citizens that are allowed to come over here and vote in Ireland. And every time we have a vote here in Ireland, there's a massive influx of English people coming over here and voting.
Why not, sure?
That's a fact.
Sure, they can do what they want. Well, they wouldn't be, but they wouldn't be able to do that if you had a lawful system, you see. They wouldn't be able to do that.
This is the thing. How are you going to get all these people to deregister, like when they're being paid?
We have to call out the people that are promoting the system. We have to call them out and challenge them.
Here's another one, lads. Here's another one that my missus sent me, lads. Yeah. Just for a little bit of difference for people tuning in. Another one to just discuss. This was today as well. So, Gardaí preserve scene after discovery of a woman's body in Dublin. The body of a female believed to be aged in her 20s was found shortly before 6 a.m. Gardaí have confirmed that they are investigating all circumstances after the discovery of a body in County Dublin this morning. The body of a female believed to be aged in her 20s was found in the early hours of this morning in the Griffith Avenue area of Whitehall after Gardaí, based out of Santry Station, responded to an alert. The body of the
guess what? I know. I read that. And guess what, Dennis? That's not going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back.
No, it's not, man. No,
there isn't. And you're going to have another one tomorrow, and another one the next day, and another one the next day. And that's why I'm saying we need a now plan. And now plan.
Yeah, no, I do hear you, and I am open to it. I'm not devoted to any one book or any one contract or anything. I'm all about, the people being the power. So I'm definitely open to it, but I would rather.
I just want to make something clear though here tonight. I want all the people to know, the public faces. I want them to know that I'm not pushing for any sort of a position in any debate of this subject. For myself is what I mean. I don't want to be a public face. I don't want to be a public speaker. Look at the world as a stage, and the play that I see going on here is The Wizard of Oz. And the character that I've chosen to play in this play is the ugly little dog called Toto, who will not stop barking until the people look behind the screen. That's the part I'm playing, and I'm not going to stop barking until you look behind the screen. And when you do, I've finished. That's my part finished. And it's up for the eloquently spoken to come out and discuss the matter. I just want people to know that I'm not trying to get into any sort of a public setting or anything myself. I'm not comfortable public speaking. It wasn't something I ever wanted to do. So it's not for people can't. Don't be blaming me. Don't be using that I have an ego as an excuse here or something, because it's not that.
No, I think more like I just want to address that issue while you're talking about people. Thinking that you love putting your face out there. Like you would rather not be listening to all this shit and reading all these headlines and watching all this. I just feel I have to do it like you, but I'd rather someone else did it. But there aren't many people doing it, speaking realistically,
there's a lot of people that will speak, but they can't, because a lot of the people that are au fait on this subject are actually, they found themselves on the receiving end of the state's currency, which is hurt and harm. So there's a lot of people who don't feel comfortable to come and speak publicly.
I'll tell you how I got into this. I was working in London in Blair Wards. It's a psychiatric intensive care unit. And I was told to let out this black girl one day for a walk. she behaved herself for about 6 months to get unescorted ground leave. And I looked in her eyes and I knew, well, there was something wrong with her. I walked into the nurse's station. I said, I'm not going to let this girl out. And they said to me, if you don't let this girl out, you will be reprimanded. And I knew she was going to go and kill herself. And that's exactly what she done. When I came in the following day, your one walked straight across the road, threw herself in front of a train. And I knew from then on that this whole psychiatric institute was just a money-making organization. And that's what turned me against the whole lot. I became completely anti-establishment after that. I went up to one of the foremost psychologists in England that wrote all the policies and procedures for the mental health care trust in England. And I just asked him one question. I says, how do you define mental illness? How do you define who is schizophrenic and who is bipolar or whatever like? And he thought for a second and he says, well, you can't really without 6 months observations and brain scans and all this close one-to-one. And I just looked around me in the wards and I realized that none of these patients had that. That's when I just quit psychiatric nursing. And I started going against the government. And then I found out that the National Cancer Institute were hiding the cure for cancer. And that completely set me off then. My father died from cancer, and I'm sure there's many people listening now whose people who have relatives and loved ones that died from cancer, and know this, the government know there's a cure for cancer, and they're killing all these people needlessly. My father was one of them.
I'm sorry to hear that, man. Very sorry. And that's some tragic story you have to tell there. So that's a hell for you to endure.
But look, it's a hell for everyone to endure, man, not just me. Do you know what I mean? This is going on. Little kids are dying there. There's 3,000 Irish kids dying every year from cancer. And I sent a letter to the Radcar telling them, here's the cure for cancer. And still, that piece of shit. Sorry for swearing. But that crap, that pile of shite that's above there in Dáil Éireann, a doctor. I swear to God. Maybe that's why I want to run for election, so I can get close to the fucker.
Don't become one of them. Don't become one of them. No.
No, fuck it. I don't think. No, I think just being around the scum that's up there now would make me sick. I wouldn't be able to stand near them.
They're soulless people. They're soulless people, you know, and they have to be emotionally. I know this is the wrong word because it's too hard, but I try to be direct. I try to be accurate when I speak. And people have said you can't use that word, but they have to be emotionally retarded.
Yes, I agree with you.
How can I say it in a nicer way? Okay, they're emotionally limited then. Is that a nicer way to say it? But they have to be.
Look, you don't have to be politically correct with me. You just say it out straight, Murdoch.
Yeah, well, that's the word that came to my mind, you know. But that's why, you know, you're always trying to understand. Well, how can he do this and how can he do that? And how can he sleep at night? Listen, these people, they don't have the ability to experience the emotions that myself and yourself feel, the compassion that we feel. They pretend. That's what they do. They pretend to show compassion. That's all. Did you remember Enda Kenny crying in the Dáil? For feck's sake, what a cringe. You remember that? You know, I mean, yeah. It's a very sick joke now, isn't it?
Listen, whichever I look at, I just want to see an end to this, all this killing and murdering and our country being destroyed before our eyes. You know, I just want to see an end to it, and whichever way I can.
Okay. Well, I could start. Look, I like to keep the conversation tight, and I'll tell you why. Because I suppose it's to do with the attention span of people as well. You know, if we stay on here all night, which I could, Paul, I could stay and talk to you all night, like, and the time would fly by for me. But for the people watching, you know, they like everything, you know, compact in a tight space. What has to be said quickly, and short, no waffle. Okay. So if we just want to stay tight and talk about the problems of the 1937 Constitution and just maybe pull out different articles and say, well, let's discuss Article 10. What's all this about? Like reversing the ownership of all our assets? Like, you know, what's this about Article 43, where the state can delimit all your rights? Like, you know, you can talk about, you know, there's just I can't think of anything good about the 1937 Constitution.
Well, look at more like John. One of the lads said there, two of these conversations once a week would get people interested. That's a start, you know. So
It would. But what is the consensus from the people? What is the consensus on the people on calling out alternative media to actually discuss something worth discussing for a change, instead of just keeping us sensitized, you know, in this state of.
We've been told I agree, grip media and alternative media just keep the alternative spinning in circles of frustrations.
Yeah, I know, but the people, like I've made this suggestion before. I said, surely it cannot be impossible for 1,000 of us to move as a group to gripped media. And we're not asking them, we're requiring, you're a public service here, and we're requiring that you investigate this subject forensically and ASAP. Not just me, because they're just ignoring me, but 1,000 people collectively, 2,000, better again. But surely that wouldn't be impossible for us to get 1,000 people to go. And sure, listen, whether you agree with deregistering or you don't, you surely want to hear the subject discussed forensically by the eloquently spoken, not by me.
Yeah, no,
I've said what I have to say.
It would be a very, very interesting thing to see someone or a unit, I suppose, disseminating it and actually presenting it, as you say, as independent journalists, and saying there are people here who say deregister, you know, and then actually discuss it, because it is in itself, it's like a little anti-political movement group, the deregister heads. I kind of find, and you know,
just excuse me for a moment.
I'll take it off, yeah. But I kind of find that that's the same kind of vibe. It's nearly an anti-political movement, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, we're all heading in the same direction,
and I think there's a space for us there to maybe.
Yeah, look at
build something, because I can't see there's nothing else being built out there. You know.
Yeah, but the IRB are starting up there now. They're sending letters to the Queen of England, claiming they are the original government. So I don't know what's going on with that. Then you have the government up the north. So how do you can't have four governments operating in Ireland?
Well, it's so messed up that you have the Stormont back in operation through England, and then, in all honesty, I have Leinster House. I believe Stormont was opened back up because Leinster House is on its knees. Really, they just put a sheen on it, but I believe that's why Stormont, they were running things so easy that they didn't need two parliaments. But there may be trouble. There may be trouble coming in Dublin, so they'll need their own specific parliament up in Ulster, you know. Just to keep their finger in the pies, like.
Yeah.
I think it could get rough in the Republic. I really do.
Well, when we've got Drew Harris, a current MI5 member, as head of our Garda Commissioner, you know, of course it's going to cause trouble. You know, there's a reason he's there. He's there to start the shit. He said he was coming after all dissident Republicans, and we would be classed as dissident Republicans, myself, you, and Murdoch, because we don't agree with him being there. Anyone that doesn't agree with Drew Harris in the south of Ireland is a dissident Republican. But you can see the results of him there from coming in on that poster in 2018. That's when everything started going really bad. All the murders went up, all the rapes and everything started going up. Like, you know.
Yeah.
That's why the Irish government have him there, is to protect them.
I think there's an element in truth in what Morlock was saying about all the channels and the just. What was I going to say there now? There's so many scandals, you know. I just read out a couple of articles there. There's just scandal. It's built upon scandal, and people's tolerance to just digest scandal and digest it and digest it and digest it. I was listening to Justin Barrett today, and he was saying in his mind, they're in full overdrive right now. The government through the UN, they're surprised by how much they can get away with. That's his belief, that they're really pushing it into hyperdrive now, you know. And it seems that way, to be honest. It does seem that way.
Well, let's say Murdoch gets his way there and everyone deregisters.
Mm.
What do we do after that?
That's my issue, Paul. That's my issue.
Now, I've talked to Murlock about this before, and we reckon
I'll bring him back in. I'll bring him back in because he's there. I'll have him now. Give him a second.
Yeah.
Go on, ask him the question there. Ask him the question.
I was just saying, Murlock, that if we got, or if you got your way, that everyone deregistered, what would we do next? And I remember we had this conversation, and we said that, well, I said that to bring it back down to the local councils. You know, bring it back where you can reach out and touch someone if you need to, because having a government up in Dublin there, it's in one spot. You know, it's an awful long way for someone in Cork to travel to Dublin and come back down again. You know, if there was a local councillor there in Cork that they could reach out and touch, you know, things would be a lot different.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, you mentioned something else there, and I just want to, it's a fairly important thing that I have to say. It's with regard to collapsing this state again. I telephoned the CSO myself, the Central Statistics Office of the de facto state, and I spoke to an agent there, and I asked the agent, could he give for me the number of registered voters, please? He told me he didn't have that figure. And he advised me to go to the legacy institutions that are the council, to go to them individually, county by county, and to get that information for myself. Now, I was quite interested in that because the state are making the claim that they have a mandate to rule us because that they have the majority registered to be ruled or to vote or whatever word you want to use. Now, if they don't have the figure to back up that claim, that's reason enough to collapse the state in itself.
I agree totally. And for every law that's passed up there in this cesspit, there has to be a certain amount of TDs in there voting on the law or not, right? And I think it's about 63% or 66% that it has to vote and pass. You know, it has to be 66%. But this is going back to the 1950s. There never has been 60% or 66% of TDs in the Dáil voting for most of these laws that they've brought in. So most of the laws they brought in are fraud anyway.
If it's legal, it doesn't really matter. You know, you can do what you want. Oh, you can do what you want. You can do what you want with legal. You know, when you have no morals and, you know, sure, I mean, I don't know. I mean, animals have more rights than the citizens in this country. You know, I'm from a farm here. I was born on a farm here, and I know that if you hadn't got feed for your animals, and if you didn't have shelter for your animals, and if you had them out dying in the fields, you would be locked up, and rightly so. But it's okay for the state to treat the citizens like that, isn't it? Because they're Goyam. They're Goyam. They're treating us like Goyam. And you know what? We can go around looking for whose fault. Oh, it's Leo's fault, and it's this party or it's that party. It's not. It's our fault. I'm a man. This is now. The men and women of now are responsible for now. Nobody else. We're putting up with too much, and we have done for too long. It has to end, and it has to end now.
I'd love to see you getting on RTE and giving some lad stick on there, because you're very good at this, like, you know.
Well, I appreciate that.
You speak the truth, like, you know, and I can't disagree with anything you've said. But I'm looking for the same result, but going at it a different way, because I don't have patience. I don't have patience, and I think deregistering is going to take more time.
Well, I think myself that I think that there's a crack in the dam. I think that the information is seeping through, and I know that when change happens, it always happens the same way. It happens slowly, 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 and then suddenly, like that dam bursting, and the truth will flood the land, and there's not a thing they can do to stop it.
I hope you're right, lad. I hope and pray that you're right. I really do. because I'd love to see that dam bursting right this minute.
Well, the dam is ready to burst. The dam is ready to burst.
Yeah,
you know.
Good. You see, I don't know where you are along your road, you know, and only you know that, like. But
Well, I know this, Paul. I know that there's a lot of those public faces that I haven't mentioned their names, but I'm sure they know who I'm talking about. There's an awful lot of those public faces that would love to see me butchered in public on this subject.
yeah,
Where are they? Why can't they do that? I mean, they're the ones with all the qualifications and the education. Why can you not come along and keep this fella quiet? Why can you not come along and make a show of Murlock there in public and that'd be all very funny? Why can't you do that?
because they know you're right. They know you're right
That's
at
what
the end of the day.
I think it's very obvious. I think it's very, very obvious.
You
It's
see,
because I stay in my lane. Listen, I have opinions on all subjects. People think, oh, Jesus, he's so shallow. That's all he talks about. You don't know anything about me. Nobody knows anything about me, what I think about anything. All my opinions on different subjects, they're private. They're nobody's business. You know, do I believe in God? That's nobody's business. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about one thing and one thing only, and I stay tight in my lane.
Yeah.
That's it. And I'm not going to be dragged into any deep water.
Definitely.
That's why I said as soon as you wanted to talk about birth certs, I'm not going down that road yet. I'm staying here because we haven't got past the first step yet.
Yeah, we haven't got past the fourth step yet. Yeah,
This is the first step.
yeah.
And that's why I'm staying right here. It's
But
not because I'm
there's Paul there. Paul deregistered a long time ago, but now he's thinking of coming back into it. So he doesn't think there's much to the. He thought he wasn't doing enough deregistering.
I know. I've heard the man and I've listened to him. And as I said, look, it's not my intention to come on here and to change Paul's mind or your. Well, Dennis, I hope I've already changed your mind. You've had long enough to think about this now. but I wouldn't be naive enough to think that I could change a man's mind because I'm a man myself. And I know that
that's why
you have to give the information and allow the man to go off and to digest that information. You know what's going to happen? His subconscious is not going to allow me to tell him any lies, and then his gut is going to digest it if it's good.
Yeah, of course, man. Of course. So just my fear would be what happened with Paul, that I deregister. I stop talking about the things that are happening in the country. Stop pointing them out because I'm deregistered. And like what Paul felt, like I'm at the deregistering, but it doesn't really feel like nothing's actually happening from that. And that's what I would fear. I think there's people out there that would like to build a movement, a people's movement on that and push it forward.
Yeah, but you know what? It has to be talked about. We can't keep the subject suppressed and expect something to happen.
Well, that's what
it has to be put into the public and discussed. And as I say, forensically and by the eloquently spoken.
Yeah,
I want to sit back and watch this conversation as well. And you mentioned the man there, Paul Cotty. It's the caliber of Paul Cotty that should be here talking about this, not here and now, not at this level. This is for the layman. This is the level for the majority.
Yeah, because I think to be honest with you, Morlock, I think a lot of people who would listen to the content, thinking about it, they would say they would be drawn towards it because it's anti-state. But there is that kind of. Then what? It's useless. That's it.
What do you mean it's useless? How is it useless to return to law? I mean, that just is absolute nonsense to me. That does not compute in my mind.
In that you're deregistered now. How long are you deregistered? Like?
Well, since I met you and before.
Right, and so all these scandals keep happening, and I know what you're saying, that remove yourself from it and return to law, but that's all still carrying on. And
listen, I get Lester there, right? He'll sit down in front of me and agree with everything I say. And I say, oh, that's great, Lester, right? And you support me. And sorry for mentioning your name, Lester. It's just you're a public face, and I think, you're open for discussion then, okay?
Oh, he's welcome.
He'll agree with me face to face. And I say, that's great, Lester. That's lovely. Will we have a recorded conversation that we can present to the people? Oh, no, I won't do that. I'll agree with you on a private conversation, but I won't have any public conversation with you on the matter. That's the problem. That's our problem. My battery is going to die here, lads. Have we been on for a long time?
We've been on a while now, man, so you can head off. And
yeah.
we'll do more if people want more. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm always available, as you know, Dennis.
And
Chomping at the bit.
yeah, that's it. Anybody wants to come on and have a chat,
Yeah.
you're more than welcome. And that's really it, folks.
Well, you guys chat away, and sure, I'll try and listen to you. I'm just going to have to turn off this thing.
No, I'm going to get rid of Paul now as well, and I'm going to have a couple of videos to play, and then that's me for the evening.
All right.
You've nearly convinced me to join you, Murdoch. You've nearly convinced me.
Well, come here. Look at this. Is the whole thing.
I'm looking for 12 good disciples. Is all I'm looking for.
This conversation needed to be had, Paul. You know, let's be honest. This space is at the opening up with this content as the issue that we're talking about. So people are welcome to come in and listen, and we'll discuss it more and more and more, because, as I said, I believe it could be a beautiful thing. But I am.
Well, I'm going to say good night before this thing switches off, guys. Okay.
Go on, be good, more. Talk to you, man. Right, be good. Go on.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Paul, talk to you soon, man.
Good, man. All right, Murdoch. Take it easy, lads. Good luck.
Now, Paulie, what's your dog's name?
Oh, that's Batman. Batman and Robin here beside me. Yeah. Crime fighting duo.
Yeah, so well done on coming on in tonight and having a chat.
Listen, you know, anything to get the issue talked about, because, you know, the place is in a mess. And as you see there every day, there's something new in the news feed, like, so we need to do something now.
Oh, the people who see how it is need to come together now. And that's what I was saying. That's what I was saying to Morlock. Like that, you know, there's I've experienced lots of people with a solution or with the answer, and they pick the solution and they pick the answer. And if people don't get with them, well, then they're the enemy, or they're in a different group. And I'd like to think that between us all, we see how bad it is, that we could actually build a people's movement. And that's it. Non-political.
We're all heading in the same direction, like, but I don't have as much patience as Murdoch, I'd say, or yourself.
It does test your patience.
I'm a battering ram. Like, I just want to go after these. I just want to catch them and, you know, kick them. I won't say I'll get violent with them, but them thoughts are in my head, like, because what they're doing is completely wrong, and I don't have the patience to be trying to get people to deregister. I prefer to just go in there and tell them they are scum, they are committing fraud on the Irish people, like, you know. But that's just my opinion anyway. That.
Yeah, but come here, that's what every protest has been for the past few years, Paul, is, you know, it's more like we're saying last night about travelling up to one of the gatherings in Dublin and paying a fella to drive him up and paying him, you know, paying a babysitter and stuff. That's what you're doing when you go there, you know, but then your heart breaks when you get there and there's fucking 15, 20 people, or, you know, so everybody's fragmented off into different social media and different agendas, and it seems there has been no people's movement focused on the people. Everybody has an agenda, it seems, you know.
Well, I'm going to stay going with my way, and maybe I'll learn something from it, you know. That might benefit.
That's what you do, man. That's what Morlock said to me the other night about sitting on the fence, and I said, I suppose I am, because I'm a bit like what you're talking about. And I know some people said it's the fourth step, but my fear would be I deregister, and then the world just rolls on, and there's loads of us who know what's going on, and we're all just deregistered and not actually, you know, spreading the information anymore. You know?
Yeah, as I said there, like, you know.
But there is space for the people's movement, you know. There is space.
There is. If we form our own, what would you call it? I know Murdoch doesn't like it being called a police force, but that's what I want to use to get the message across. Unless we form our own lawful police force here in Ireland, we're going to keep getting bet with this fucking legalese stick.
Yeah, because of course we are. But first of all, we must learn how to have heated debates again, you know, and because it seems people don't like to get have heated conversations, and unfortunately, with the situation we're dealing in, it's very passionate and it's very emotional. You know, when you think about the suffering and what's going on, and there has to be lots and lots of passionate conversations. Like, we're not going to get anywhere if people can't have conversations with people they don't actually get on with or like, but they see the bigger picture.
Well, that's something as well. Like, you have to have a bit of cognitive dissonance in order to get somewhere. Like, you can't be falling out with everyone that you disagree with. Like,
Well, that's the way. That's kind of where I decided to put my flag on it about 3 months ago. Was say, right, all the stuff that's going on, right? It's the state. It's the state. The state must fall.
Yeah.
And to me, I was taking in the deregistering message and all, but I felt there was no movement forward because everybody had their own solution, and then everybody else was wrong and stuff. So what I was thinking was, right, surely we can get people that realise it's the state. The state must fall. And Morlock is definitely, and the deregistering option is definitely saying that. It's definitely saying that. But my fear is, I believe we need a people's movement. We need an energetic people's movement right now in this moment in history.
Do you know what? It's going to come down to a civil war. It's going to be them versus us. That's what it's going to come down to. I reckon, anyway.
Well, if things are allowed to go the way they are going, it's already bringing trouble, and it's going to bring lots more trouble, and that's just a sad fact. It is.
It seems like the government. That's what they're pushing for. It seems that's what they're hell bent on. Like,
Yeah. I know people are fearful of. I know people are fearful of. If things get a bit frosty, that they bring in the UN and all that stuff. That is some people's concern as well, and they'll use that to, implement more control and that stuff. So there's lots to it, but people can't be divided anymore or any longer. If they see what it is, what's going on, there should be no little personal opinion of somebody or little dislike of somebody that would stop you assembling with them and speaking and trying to form a people's movement now. That's just all white noise, Unless someone's giving you a slap or someone's being nasty to you, you probably don't want to be in the same room as that, and that person probably won't be. You probably won't be on the same wavelength because you're two different people. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, it's okay, sticks and stones. It's okay to disagree. It's okay to, passionately.
I think that's, you hit the nail on the head there. Everyone is so fucking easily offended nowadays.
Man, it is what it is. It is. That's the way it is these days. People are very, very easily offended. Like, and everyone wants to be right all the time, and to give off this air on social media that you're less intelligent than me because you just don't get it. You just don't see. I know more than you.
Yeah.
So there's this whole.
Listen, I have to give it to Murdoch. Fair play to the lad. He's a rock there. Like, no one is going to shift Murdoch.
Well, look, this is his message now. I know he says some people don't discuss it. They don't want to discuss it, but I've discussed them many times, and some people just don't want to discuss it. Do you know what I mean? So you can't make people discuss. You can't make them discuss it. Like, you can ask somebody to discuss it, or you can be nice to them and send them a message, but you can't make them. And some people
if you go back there on this video, he didn't say one thing that was untrue. Everything that he says is true.
That's what he always says,
Yeah.
But all the other people that I've met along the way, most of them are going into the political world. So I know for a fact that the thought of deregistering to them is alien to them, like, because they're at the going and setting up a political party or an independent alliance, or whatever it may be.
It's a hard one. Like, we're both going about it different ways, but we both want the same results, like, and that's for this state to be destroyed.
Yeah, well,
because it is pure evil.
Yeah, it's a dark entity. Yeah, it's a very dark entity. Yeah. Come here, I'm gonna pop off here for 2 minutes, so you can finish up, right?
No, you finish up to yourself.
No, I'm gonna give you 2. I'm gonna give you 2 minutes on your own to say what you want to the people of.
I'll go away, lad. I have to go.
No, you're gonna do it, man. You're gonna do it. You're gonna say good night, and you're gonna say whatever you want to say. Give me 1 second. You've got 2 minutes. Go for it.
All right. Look at. You all know. You all see what's going on in the country, and you all know what's wrong. So we have to get this government out, whichever way possible, like, and whichever is the quickest and the most efficient way. So either go with Murlock's way or choose whichever way, but you have to start taking action. You can't be just leaving it up to someone else. It's up to each of you individually now. So listen, I'm going to leave it with you. You think about this and go back over the video there, because Murlock does give a lot of good points. I just don't have the patience to do it. I think it's going to take a lot longer than infiltrating them, because that's how they infiltrated us, was this same way. Like, you know, they used the media to get into us, and they infiltrated this government slowly, and we've now got a heap of WEF puppets there in Dáil Éireann. So I was just going to reverse engineer what they done to us and try and get back in that way. But I don't know. Look, it's up for debate there. Let us know what you think in the comments.
Well done, Paulie. I just thought I'd give him a bit of space. I wanted to get a little drink, so yeah, I'll leave it be for this evening, folks. That's enough. I had a few videos, but sure, look, I can put them on tomorrow evening's 7 o'clock live stream. I'm going to do live Monday to Thursday, 7 p.m. Please do share if you want it. If you want to come on for a chat, please do. And we'll discuss things as we move forward. But more importantly, it's just a space for people to tune in at 7 o'clock. And we'll open the portal and see what comes out. So until next time, be good. Thanks for all your comments. In future, can I ask when you come in that you share it out on your social media platforms as well to people who may be interested as it's happening, and yeah, you might put a few more people in. So be good. I'll talk to you all soon. Much love.